Hello, I'm Jody Wolf, and you're watching Expoz. It is March 8, 2019, 9:54 p.m. in Birmingham. Topic is, will the temple stand here? In other words, are we looking at the spot where the temple may stand? And the way you're looking at this, you're looking out of the window of a building that's called the Temple Institute. And the Temple Institute is a great newsletter to take. I've been taking it since 2006. And I mean, I way back when they were completing the clothing for the people who would actually work in the temple and even fitting the people that would be working at the temple. All these clothing's made. And even Cohen, the very person who is a mediator between the inside of the temple and the outside of where man is the only man that can do that. And he's been fitted, and he is alive and well. Other things that are ready are all the implements that goes into the temple. And I just heard something today that the menorah is in like an 8-ton block of gold, and it's behind X number of feet of concrete, blast proof. And can you imagine if that menorah is packed away in that manner? What about everything else? And I said on a blog recently that underneath surrounding areas, and if you go to the copper scroll, it is very exciting for them to tell you things that they have found. 65 sites, and the copper scroll has 5 people, and each of them gave up a number of hidden places where treasures, where the implements of the temple would be hidden. So, and the Jews know where these are. But with a copper scroll, there's a new, I guess you can call interest, because they allowed for the first time ground penetrating radar to go in and check one of the locations. And they checked more than one, but one was enormous, 50 feet by I think 30 feet and by 20 high, and it was 60 feet down, and it was under 2 prior cities that date back 2,000 years. So this is unbelievable for all this to be true. I mean, to be where it is, but it's well protected. I mean, all these things are bomb-proof, you know that. And the red heifer still alive and well and combed and brushed and groomed daily to make sure nothing, no gray hair, no brown hair or black pops up on it. I mean, it's perfect. It's still the one that'll be used for that sacrifice, or the ashes that will cleanse the temple. So, in the other thing, let's talk about, will people be saved after the rapture of the church? And I have proof that yes, they will. People who are not saved today, and there's a rapture of the church, and the ones left behind, you have people out there telling you, you know what, you don't get a second chance. Well, I got news for you. I have proof, and I'm going to give it to you. And it's so wide open that no one can see it. The proof is, the Jews are the Jews, and everybody else are the Gentiles. That's the Arabs, that's the Muslim, that's the Venezuelan, that's Americans, that's Canadians, Australians, Russians, everybody else are the Gentiles, and the Jews are the Jews. And what happens after the rapture of the church, the 7-year tribulation. What happens midway through the 7-year tribulation? The Jews will be attacked. And I'm not talking about Ezekiel 38, 39. I'm talking about that final war. 2/3 will be cut off, but a remnant will be saved. Now, if they can be saved, why can't anyone else who cries out to the Lord be saved that's hiding out in other countries and other places? Anywhere during that 7 years, they can. People can be saved that are not saved today. They will be able to be saved. Now, all this, the rapture of the church, is the only thing that's preventing God dealing with the Jews so he can get with his people and start bringing them out and start preparing them. It's the church. The church must go in order for that to be timed. The times of the Gentiles be trodden down, they got to be removed. And their time is up. That's our time. So the Jews that'll be saved, so will millions of other people. Now, could it be that the Ezekiel 38, 39 war will not happen as long as Israel has the United States as an ally? I'll say absolutely yes. It will not happen. It won't happen because we are here and we will back and support and aid Israel. Now, why is this important? Because that's what's standing in the way of the Ezekiel 38, 39 war. The United States. We're blocking them. We're standing in that way. We're not permitting that. And they know it. But what they don't know is it's going to be much worse for them when we're taken out of the way, because they'll go anyway, and then 5 out of 6 of them will die on the mountains above and around Israel. So it's much worse for them. While the church has been removed, then the door will be open for the Ezekiel 38, 39 war, and the utter defeat by God bring about the approval of the temple to be built. Something will happen that when the Jews are prevalent, when they are the winners in this war, it's going to rattle a lot of people. And no one will stand in the way when they say, we want to build our temple. And that's all the world. That's the Arabs, that's Muslim, Chinese, Russia, Americans. We're all Gentile. But no one is left to stand in the way and tell Israel, no, you cannot do that. So Jewish believe a temple will stand here. When I say here, I'm pointing at that spot that you're looking at on the screen. Looking out of the Temple Institute. And I think it's interesting because I never knew where the Temple Institute was. I just know that I take their newsletter and I make contributions from time to time to them. But I wanted to run this thing by you here and let you know that I believe this is sort of a timeline that we'll have to go through to bring these things about that will rapture the church and that'll bring about the Ezekiel 38, 39 war, because we're not there to stop it, but yet God will fight that battle, and it'll be much, much worse for those who come against the Jews. And the Jews people will fear them for a while. But in this midst will come the Antichrist. And this is when the 7-year peace deal will be drawn up. Jews will start building the temple. And that'll be the last temple built. The next temple will be built by God's hands. And when it's delivered, that will be the final piece of everything that God has created, put into place. And after that, you have no idea what happens. Jody Wolf Expoz.